When it comes to Call of Duty Zombies, there's always a big debate on what is the greatest zombies map of all time. And pretty consistently, there are three maps that will always pop up in that conversation: Mob of the Dead, Drak, and Origins. These three maps are staples for top fives all around the community. And I'll be honest, I always go back and forth in liking and hating Origins. Now, the more I've played the map recently, the more I've grown to tolerate it and even like it to an extent. And it's never going to be one of my favorites, and I will never have it in my top 5. But one thing I can say is I've always enjoyed from the map is the Easter egg. Despite my ever-changing opinion of this map, the Easter egg remains the one constant. And today I would like to take a deeper dive on why that is. And don't worry, we'll get into why I don't like this map later, so stick around. Also, I know I'm in the minority on this one, and everyone should be pissed. But I'm prepared for that, so bring it on. But before we get into that, I would like to unravel what makes this Easter egg so interesting for a D1 hater like myself. Now, there could be many variables, but I like to think it's because with Origins, they finally perfected the Easter egg. You clicking on this video, that's what's up. My name is Travis, and welcome to Origins, the Easter Egg Perfected. I've been waiting to make this video for a long time now, so to say it's my most anticipated video is making it an understatement. I've had this idea since I did Transit. It was Transit and Origins, and then every other map came along, and we're finally here. So I'm really excited to get into this. So I was thinking, what would be the best way to figure out what draws me into this map? What makes this Easter egg so perfect? And then it hit me. It's right in the name. My answer lies at the beginning. My answer lies within the origins of Origins. For a map with the name Origins, it is very fitting. It's a map with many beginnings and many firsts. For example, the first map to have the Wonder Fizz is the first map for the appearance of the Panzer, and is the first map with an ending cutscene for completing the Easter egg. I think the biggest first for this map would be the first map for the Premise Crew, changing the zombie story as we would know it going forward. There are a lot of story implications that could lead to how Treyarch perfected this Easter egg, but we'll get more into that later. Mob of the Dead was the first map headed by Jason Blundell, but that was more of a teaser, a demo, dipping our toes in the water, if you will. Origins is really where Blundell's magic started. Not to take anything away from Mob of the Dead, but Origins was the first map that everyone knew that Jason wasn't just a one-hit wonder, so to speak, and that he'll be a staple for years to come. Starting with your first lead project being a banger like Mob, and being involved with zombies since the inception of the first Easter egg in Ascension, Jason Blundell was the right pick to what was to come. Being there from the beginning allowed Jason to see all the faults and ways to improve the Easter egg formula and perfect it. Over the time, we saw Easter eggs get better and the stories get more complex and interesting until Mob of the Dead, where everything almost comes together, but I feel like there was just one or a couple things missing. And I think Jason Blundell found what was missing and added it to Origins. He and team then made the most unique and ambitious project up until that point. Jason saw how great Mob was, and then he turned it on its head, shook it until everything that was great fell to the floor. He grabbed those things, strapped it to a rocket, and launched it to the stratosphere. Among those things were the wonder weapons, the Easter egg process, and the story, which are all going to be my next topic of discussion, starting with. Like I had mentioned earlier, there are plenty of story implications of what makes this Easter egg so perfect. Even in the opening cinematic, you can tell that this map is different, and leagues above the rest. If we're using Mob as a foundation, then these walls sure as hell are about to be sturdy. The fully animated cutscene, instead of just a few pictures, maybe with slight movements here and there, is a big change. Just like how they did with Mob, they also added music to go with it, and there's nothing wrong with country, but nothing bangs more with zombies than metal. Especially Venge Sevenfold with Shepherd of Fire. The epic music, along with the badass introduction of these new yet familiar characters, lets you know you're in for a ride. Also, it gives you enough to pull you in and gets you really invested for the story. For the first time, the story felt more like a main focus instead of something on the side or in the background. And I guess that's why they would call it an Easter egg, but now Easter egg gets a brand new meaning. Going past the opening cutscene, there is so much more depth, organs, and meat added in this map. The story is really pushed to a whole nother level. As you go through the Easter egg, you can gather information from each character and what's going on with Samantha and Maxis like never before. And I'm not going to explain the whole plotline because that would take forever. And if you're watching this video, there's a good chance that you already know it. So there's really no need to explain too much. One thing I will say though is that the main goal is freeing Samantha by opening the gateway to Agartha. And I say this because it has to do with what's next for what I'm talking about. And so I just wanted to get it out of the way. Before we go on to what's next, I do need to mention the ending cutscene. And this one is really special, and it's not just because it's the first one, but it has so much to offer. It made you wonder if everything that we were playing up to that point was just a children's game. It makes you ask so many questions and wonder what will be next for these characters, which would eventually be answered in Black Ops 3 and further, but it's crazy to think about because that was the cliffhanger that we were left on for 2.5 years. What if it all was just pretend? That would be a crazy ending to a crazy story that was just beginning. The great thing about doing the Origins Easter egg process is it works for every playstyle. If you're a type of person who perfects every step and has it down to a science, then there's a perfect way for you to do it, and it most likely ends with getting the fist melee upgrades. Or if you just want to do the Easter egg casually and take your time with it, then that works too. What's great is that there's no specific order that you have to do these steps either. You can really do them in whatever order you want. Although I do believe you have to complete the staff and upgrade them before doing a couple steps. Other than that, every step is up to you to do at your own pace, which I love. I've always hated the feeling of being rushed in anything, and if I'm going to be rushed in my favorite game mode, then you can just forget it. Another thing that this Easter egg does is it sets up well for future maps. The 100 kills that you have to get at the end, I personally think is a precursor to having boss fights, which you can also see more of in Shadows of Evil. There is so much in future maps that was inspired by stuff that happened in Origins, which just adds to what more they got right with the Easter egg, since they keep taking from it. I mean, if it ain't broke, don't fix it, right? The Wonder Weapons are a great example of this. The first elemental weapons with the elemental staffs are very important for future games such as Black Ops 3 with the Rising Drag, and up to recently with Black Ops 6 with Citadel de Mort. Sorry, I'm not French. Speaking of inspiration and the Wonder Weapons, that is a great segue into the next section. I once said the Wonder Weapon is the best part of almost every map, and with one of the best Wonder Weapons in the elemental staffs, this one is no different. They are versatile in many ways, and not just killing zombies, but they get a bonus points because when upgraded they can revive your teammates instantly, which can be a big help. Also, unlike Wonder Weapons before, these ones have directly to do with the story and Easter egg. A cool gun or a weapon is called a cool gun for a reason, and these are some cool staffs with 4 options that are just as cool as the 4 players that are using them. But just like the characters, if they have no personality, then they're no longer cool weapons. And I think actually being part of the story and process of completing the Easter egg adds so much more value to the Wonder Weapons and vice versa. The 4 variants adds replayability and a little more challenge considering you have to build and upgrade all of them to finish the Easter egg. The challenge can be a good way to enhance an already tough Easter egg. I think it makes you feel the struggle that the characters are going through a little more, which also adds to the story. It's pretty interesting to think about how the most basic part of every zombie's playthrough, being building the wonder weapon, can still tell you a lot about the characters and story, even if you're not doing the Easter egg. It's another reason why I think they perfected the formula to making zombies Easter eggs. Finally, we're here. Finally, we are at the part that everyone wants to know. So to everyone who stayed till this long, I thank you for that. And we are finally at the part where I tell you my opinion on this map. And you're not going to be disappointed. So where do I start? Well, a good place to start is what I've been talking about this whole time, and that's the Easter egg. I mean, it's the best part of the map, but it just sucks because everything else is the worst. I hate the layout and I hate the trenches. They're so terrible. And I think I could play this map for 10 years straight every day and I would still get turned around. I also hate the mud. Getting stuck every 5 seconds is the worst. And what's actually the worst thing ever is coming out of a tunnel. You know, you're getting a staff and you're getting the gem for the staff or whatever, and you come right out of the tunnel. You're not paying attention to the noises and stuff, and you get stuck in the mud. And then you look up, and guess what? There's a robot foot coming to stomp on your fucking face, and you die. If I'm playing solo, that's what happens 9 out of 10 times I play. That's why most of my games are pretty fucking short. When it's Origins time, the robots are the ops. And speaking of robots, the Panzer Soldat is the bane of everyone who plays Zombies' existence. To be fair, he's the least of my problems when I play Origins. And I mean, I think that's a fair reason not to be a fan of the map. If you hate the layout and you can't stand traversing the map. Also, the difficulty is something I don't care about, but I mean, that's just a skill issue. I will say, the more I play Origins, the more I enjoy it, and I find myself liking it a little more. It's never going to be in my top 5, but I can see why other people enjoy it so much. Sorry about my little stammers and stuttering in the last section. I kind of just wanted to get my raw kind of expression of it without kind of, going through. But I think there are too many problems that I have with the map that a great Easter egg isn't just going to change how I feel too much. It does soften me up to it though, and me getting better is a big reason why I don't hate it anymore. I've explained it throughout this whole video that I think Treyarch really did perfect the Easter egg formula. I will say the Easter egg itself isn't perfect. Nothing in this world is perfect besides God. And if it was perfect, then there wouldn't be a need to add a boss fights or some other things. But I do believe the system they base every Easter egg on now is perfected because of Origins. Sorry for the stuttering and stammering in the previous section. I kind of did it for an effect. Like I was kind of mad, so I'm like not having my words together perfectly. I don't know if that works very well. I think it works good for this. I try to most of the time get everything that I'm saying perfectly, and I'll do like 100 takes just to get it right. And a lot of times I spend more time on this than what I want to. But if you made it to the end here, I do thank you for that, and I really hope you enjoyed this video. This will be my last map review on Black Ops 2 because I mean it's the last map, and my next few projects I'm hoping are going to do very well. They're definitely going to be bigger projects, and I want to put a lot of effort into them. My plan coming up is going to be broadening my spectrum with other games, such as maybe like I'm Not a Human or whatever. But I want to do more video essays like this format on them. But my next Zombies video before jumping into Black Ops 3 is going to be a giant review on Black Ops 2 as a whole. I don't know how long it's going to be. When I say giant, I just want to, look at just the zombie side, not multiplayer or campaign or anything like that. That might be later down the line. But I want to look at the zombie side as a whole and how it affected community and the timeline and everything else like that. And I think that's going to be a really good video. I've been waiting to do that one for a while. But I think that'll be interesting. But for now, I'll catch you guys next time. Happy Halloween and have a good one.